League East. 5 teams within 3 games, none of them under 500. And this weekend, we get a peek at the reigning champs, the Phillies, who suddenly can't score. Marlins Phillies, always fun, always heated, always revealing. Fish, Phils, let's dance, cowboy! The holiday weekend has officially started. Baseball this weekend at Sun Life Stadium. The first place Philadelphia Phillies, the 500 Florida Marlins, first of a 3-game weekend series. I know, everybody looking to the sky, rain gear on, tarp crew ready. Hi everybody, Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton, your rain-delayed buddies here tonight. The Marlins and the Phillies are going to play, but right now, under a delay. The tarp's not out there right now, but there's weather in the area. And obviously, Tommy, the Marlins want to be extra careful when they start this game.
Yeah, absolutely, Rich. And I'll tell you why, because the bullpen's a little short. So Freddie needs to get as much out of Chris Volstad tonight as he can. So the worst thing that would happen would be a game start, and then all of a sudden 2 innings later, an hour and a half rain delay, he can't come back with Volstad. Now he has to go to the bullpen again. So I think all caution is being taken here to make sure everything's out of the area before this thing starts.
Talked to Charlie Manuel tonight and said, Charlie, what do you make of the National League East? And Charlie said, I told you when we saw you in early April, I told you the division was going to be tough, and he was right. You got nobody under 500, and everyone's within 3 games.
Now, we've been telling you this, too, so we agree with Charlie Manuel. And the Phillies, if you look at their record, they're 11-10 against the East. The Marlins are 12-7. And the other thing about Philadelphia, they've played equally as well on the road as they have at Citizens Bank Park, the 13-10 in each venue.
So explain this to me.
Explain it to you.
You got the Marlins, whose middle relief can't get anybody out right now, and you've got the Phillies, who can't score any runs right now. What gives in this series?
Unexplainable. You cannot explain it when you have a team that has the production that the Philadelphia Phillies have. Look at this. They have been outscored 29-3 during this 5-game stretch where they've been shut out 4 out of 5 games. And those 3 runs came in the 9th inning against the Red Sox in one of those games. 4 for 34 with runners in scoring position. They have a lot of hitters. You know, you could point to Jimmy Rollins, who's back on the disabled list. He certainly adds a little fire to their lineup. Jason Worth, who was off to an unbelievable start, has cooled off quite a bit. But you know what? They still have Ibanez and Utley and Howard, and you know sooner or later they're going to bust out of it.
I know you and I always say there's no secrets between rivals in the East or any division, especially in the National League. You play so many games against each other, 18 games against the Marlins and the Phillies. But there is a little mystery in this pitching matchup in that Chris Volstad did not face the Phillies earlier this year, and the Marlins haven't seen Kyle Kendrick since 2008.
Yeah, Kendrick is their number 5 guy in that rotation. He's 2-3 in his career against the Marlins, but as Rich mentioned, they haven't seen him in a while. Chris Volstad has pretty good numbers against Philadelphia. He's 2-2 with a nice ERA in the 2s. Now, the bad news, he has to really be careful with Ryan Howard, who is 6 for 15 with 4 home runs against him. If he keeps that 2-seamer down, he'll be okay.
Will the Phillies break out? Will Chris Volstad go deep? Will Dan Uggla knock one out? Who's your pick to click? We're doing that tonight. Everybody get ready. You can pick anybody on any team. Who's going to click? We'll find out when we return. Holiday weekend series. The Phillies come in at 26-20. They are in first place, but they have dropped 5 in a row. And here is the Phillies lineup. No Jason Worth, no Placido Polanco. Jimmy Rollins is on the DL, so here's what you get tonight. You get Shane Victorino, Wilson Valdez, Chase Utley, and of course the big man hitting cleanup, Ryan Howard. Raul Ibanez, the Miami native. Ross Glode in right field. Greg Dobbs gets a rare start at third base. Carlos Ruiz, the catcher. Kyle Kendrick on the mound, hits ninth. Our Geico quote of the night: Cody Ross, those guys, you can't ever count them out. Go out there and say, oh, these guys aren't swinging the bat, because next thing you know, they'll go out and put 12 runs on the board. And it's talking about the slumping Phillies. And yes, the Phillies have scored 3 runs in their last 5 games. They're hitting 186 in those 5 games. They were swept by the Mets and shut out in all 3 games. But don't tell that to Chris Volstad, because the Marlins have seen enough of the Phillies. Volstad has seen enough in his career to know that this is one of the most explosive teams in all of baseball.
Rich, and the other thing that he's going to have to deal with in the lineup, the way Charlie Manuel has it set up tonight, is a whole bunch of lefties in a row. Utley, Howard, Ibanez, Glode, Dobbs. So Charlie has packed his lineup, taken a couple of struggling guys out. Polanco's got a little injury, nothing too serious. Worth has been struggling. So he's stocked it with a couple of guys who are good pinch hitters in Ross Glode and Greg Dobbs. So with Chris Volstad looking for win number 4, he's going to have to make good pitches. He's had pretty good numbers in his career against Philadelphia, 2-2 and a 3.21 ERA and 6 starts lifetime against Philadelphia. Right now he's been able to induce more ground balls than fly balls, and that's always a good sign for Chris, letting everybody know that he's keeping that 2-seamer down.
Hockey or baseball? Take your pick. The Marlins and the Phillies ready to go.
One guy talking about Dave Schultz in the 70s, the other talking about Ryan Howard.
In case you missed it today, and actually this happened last night after the ball game, Dan Meyer designated for assignment. He has 10 days to clear waivers, and then he has to decide if he wants to accept the assignment to AAA. The Marlins recalled from New Orleans a Major League veteran, Jorge Sosa, and they hope that his numbers in AAA can translate to success in the big leagues.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what Freddie told me about Sosa today. He's been a starter in AAA, so he's been stretched out. He threw a couple of days ago, and then he had a side session yesterday, so he could be available for an inning, 2 innings tops in this one if needed tonight.
And of course, the bullpen struggles the last couple of nights for the Marlins mean they need to get some deep innings from Chris Volstad against a Philly lineup that is opened with Shane Victorino, Wilson Valdez, and Chase Utley. And Victorino stands in with 8 homers and 33 RBIs, with numbers more like a number 3 or a 4 hitter rather than a leadoff hitter, and Volstad throws a strike. Marlins and Phillies meeting for the 4th time this year. The Fish took 2 of 3 when the 2 teams met in Philadelphia in April. Volstad did not pitch in that series.
Well, the initial plan, if you remember, for Shane Victorino was to have him hit down in the lineup with Polanco on the club, with Jimmy Rollins, and to have Victorino hit down lineup a little bit. But with injuries, Charlie's had him back in that leadoff spot.
Boy, and the Phillies have had a lot of injuries. And Victorino gets drilled. Volstad on an 0-2 pitch came up and in, and the flying Hawaiian gets it right in the right arm.
Well, and a tough guy to hit, because Victorino has 9 stolen bases. I'll tell you one of the numbers that just blew me away. The Phillies as a team have 17 stolen bases. The Marlins have 20. I would not have guessed the Marlins would have more stolen bases than the Phillies.
Last year, 119 stolen bases, second only to the Mets in the National League.
So when you are struggling scoring runs, you're Charlie Manuel, Wilson Valdez up there, you try things, you put plays on, so don't be surprised to see some movement with Victorino off and running.
And Volstad will chase Victorino back. Rollins is out again. The calf injury has knocked him out. And it's Valdez who gets the start in this ball game. We've seen Juan Castro at shortstop as well. He's nursing an injury. Carlos Ruiz is banged up, but he's in the lineup tonight. Victorino back with a dive. Brad Lidge still on the disabled list. Ryan Madsen on the disabled list. You see Victorino, he's 9 of 10.
Always a good percentage.
Phillies are missing Jay Happ from their rotation. A bunt, diving stop. Volstad throws it high. Everybody is safe. Well, he got the first part of the play right, and that was the diving stop.
Well, he has that tremendous wingspan at 6'8", and he knew that was the only chance to get an out. If the ball gets by Chris, it's a base hit. Great play, has trouble getting it out of the glove, and then throws high to first base. So that's going to be a base hit for Wilson Valdez. And the Phillies right now, a couple of men on and nobody out.
Fox Exmo showing you that shot. So now it's Utley and it's Howard. And for Volstad now, he runs into some tough left-handed hitters. And after Howard, you've got Raul Ibanez.
Yeah, this starts the string of left-handed hitters.
Utley, the premier second baseman in baseball today. And the four-time All-Star fouls it back. He hasn't had the best of success against Chris Volstad. Just 2 of 12. There's a look. That does include a home run. The man behind him, however, is a real different story. Ryan Howard has clobbered Volstad. There's Howard. Got good speed out there. Volstad's changeup misses outside. It's a ball and a strike.
Yeah, first time since 1983 that the Phillies had been shut out 3 consecutive games.
27 consecutive scoreless innings. That's amazing. And in the 5 straight losses, they've scored in just 1 of those innings in those 5 games. They had a 3-run inning. Ugla out there. Hanley will hold it. And the Phillies are set up at the corners, and here comes Howard.
No chance for double play. Utley gets out of the box quickly and didn't really hit that ball all that sharply to be a double play. So Dan Ugla and Hanley get the force, and a wise decision by Hanley not to try to get the double play when it wasn't there.
Those are the numbers against Volstad. The big one after the 6 for 15, 4 home runs. It's odd to open up the National League leaders and not see Ryan Howard's name atop the home run list. Now that may change with the one hot month or a couple of hot weeks. But right now it's Dan Ugla, Mark Reynolds, and Kelly Johnson with a dozen to lead the National League, and Howard has 8.
Well, how about averaging 50 home runs over the last 4 years? 50 home runs and 143 RBIs.
It's usually Ryan Howard and Prince Fielder on top of that list. Fielder and the Brewers are here on Monday. Bill Welke, the home plate umpire. Mike DeMuro is out at first. Brother Tim Welke is at second. Jim Reynolds is at third. Along with Shane Victorino, across the diamond is Chase Utley. A hit batter, a bunt single, and a fielder's choice here in the first. That's a strike.
Good pitch to crowd Howard in that area. And certainly not what he was looking for, 2-0. He's looking for something out over the plate. And that ball snuck in under his hands on the inside part.
Big breaking ball. And it's 2-2.
This is a key moment in this game, because if the Phillies score, now they've gotten the monkey off their back and they're on their way. But if Charlie Manuel sees his club not score in this inning with this situation,
he struck him out.
He's going to start to worry again. Boy, there's some great pitches. We saw the first strike, 2-0, was inside, under his hands. Then the curveball was strike 2, and he goes back up and in for strike 3. Good pitching by Chris Volstad.
Well, the gauntlet of lefties is completed with Raul Ibanez. You stack these guys up in the lineup, and it can be awful tough for a right-hander to get through them.
Yeah, just when you think you might be out of the woods, you get a quality hitter like Raul Ibanez.
Raul, of course, out of Miami. He is about to turn 38. June 2nd. Ball and a strike. Now Ibanez has faced Volstad. Look at this. 2 for 8, but both of those home runs. Of course, last year the long ball was a real problem for Volstad. Very much unlike his first year in the big leagues. 29 homers and 29 starts. This year, this is start number 10. He has given up 5.
He's been able to keep the ball down a little bit better, not make as many mistakes with his breaking ball.
Volstad is a strike away from climbing out of this hole.
As a team, Rich, when you go through a streak like the Phillies are going through, Raul Ibanez is up there right now with more pressure on him than normal in a situation like this, because he knows they haven't scored. He's trying to pick up his teammates.
Ball in the dirt. Charlie Manuel, in talking about the struggles of his team, said, yeah, we're not scoring runs, but he said every time we barrel one up, it's right at somebody. He said it's a little bit deceiving because there are some guys that are having some decent swings. Just no results. 3-2 coming. Utley on the move from first. Good breaking ball and a tapper towards Uggla. Dan shovels it over to Gabby, and Volstad gets out of trouble in the first. Abracadabra. Just like that.
Botón del SAP.
Marlins and Phillies. Here come the Fish. Marlins at 24-24. Chris Cogman leads it off. Gabby Sanchez is at first. Hanley Ramirez at short. Jorge Cantu has hit well against Kyle Kendrick, and right now hitting .412 with runners in scoring position. Dan Ugla, Cody Ross, Ronnie Polino, Cameron Maben's out in center. Volstad hits ninth.
Now Kyle Kendrick trying to rebound from a rough outing his last time out against the Red Sox. 4 2/3 innings, gave up 8 hits and 5 runs. Nothing overpowering. He needs to have good control to have success.
Coughlin stands in, and Chris takes a strike. The struggles of Chris Coughlin have been well documented. You can see he's hitting just .218. And for Chris, compounding that, he is not walking at all. And for a leadoff hitter, if you're hitting .218 and you're not drawing walks, your on-base percentage looks something like .268, and that's where Coughlin is right now. 12 walks, 41 strikeouts for Coughlin.
Yeah, that does not look good along his line. And so the struggles, you know, little baby steps. He's got a little 3-game hitting streak going now.
2-1 coming. Tapper towards short. Valdez in time to get Coughlin. 1 out. Here comes Gabby.
We'll give you an idea of the defense with Raul Ibanez, Victorino, Ross Clode in right field, Greg Dobbs and Valdez at third, Utley and Howard on the right side. Behind the plate, Carlos Ruiz, who's had his offensive struggles too.
Sanchez now. The Marlins, of course, last night facing the Braves in a game that was stopped by rain. Gabby had a hit. He was 1 for 5. It's a frustrating night for the Marlins offensively. They banged out 10 hits. They left 11 runners and scored just 3 times. Sanchez to left field, hit pretty well. Ibanez back to the track wall, and he makes the catch. You could see Raul lost it initially, and his reaction confirms that.
He did the right thing, though. When you lose it, you just freeze in your tracks. Then he was able to pick it up, took a peek at the wall, and Gabby Sanchez just missed one. Just got under that. But a good recovery by Ibanez in left field.
Here comes Hanley now. The Marlins and the Phillies played just 3 games, and much like the Marlins and the Braves, the Fish in the first 2 months of the season haven't seen a lot of the Phillies. Just those 3 games. Headed to Philadelphia on the next road trip. A road trip that includes a stop in New York for the Mets, on to Philadelphia, and then into St. Pete to see the Rays. Those are 3 pretty good ball clubs, and the last of those 3 clubs may be the best team in baseball.
Yeah, it'll be a very challenging trip for Freddie Gonzalez and his ball club.
See what Hanley gets. 2-0. Kendrick is a great example, and the Marlins saw that with many of their rookie pitchers in '06, of a guy that gets to the big leagues, has a terrific rookie year, and then struggles in his sophomore season, his second year. '97 was his rookie year. He was 10-4, and his ERA was under 4. And then in 2008, his ERA ballooned to 5.5. With all the offense the Phillies had, he did go 11-9.
Which is amazing. Yeah, he won 11 games with an ERA 5.5.
So he spent most of last year at AAA. 24 starts, 9-7. 9 starts in the big leagues. He was 3-1. He's out of the small town of Mount Vernon, Washington. A beautiful place north of Seattle, about an hour, which boasts 2 big league pitchers. Mark Hendrickson is from Mount Vernon as well.
I was going to get to you on the Mount Vernon, Washington geographic reference.
Probably a few folks in Mount Vernon watching on the extra innings package. That's strike 3 called. Hanley disagrees with Bill Welke. A 1-2-3 inning for Kyle Kendrick. The Fish and the Phils are underway under the raindrops in South Florida. Chris Volstad sees an old friend. Ross Glode stands in. He takes down low. Glode, Greg Dobbs, and Carlos Ruiz for the Phillies. Glode, a New Jersey guy who went to school down in Florida at the University of South Florida. A Marlin for a year and was terrific last year as a pinch hitter, spot starter. Led the big leagues in pinch hits last year with 21. He and Wes Helms combined to have 38 pinch hits, tied for first in Major League history. Remember that last series in Philadelphia, those two setting some history.
Boy, what a pair, what a duo. And I think when Ross Glode signed his contract as a free agent with the Phillies, I believe a 2-year contract, we kind of said that, you know, good for him to get the 2 years, but I don't think he'll play as much. And for Glode, it's only his 3rd start in the field. At first base, Ryan Howard has started every game. He got more opportunities, a few more at-bats with the Marlins. But still, up to his old tricks, 5 pinch hits, 2 pinch hit home runs.
Pulls it on the ground and pulls it foul. And he's getting the start in right field tonight. Jason Worth, in the words of Charlie Manuel, looked plumb tuckered out. Just a little tired, needed a day off, and he gets the night off against Volstad. But Worth has been an offensive force this year. And Ross Glode rolls one up the middle.
Yeah, Jason Worth hitting over 300, has 22 doubles.
Number 19.
Marlins and Brewers open up on Monday. Remember, Monday is an afternoon game. It's a 1:10 start, a Subway Monday. Enjoy a Memorial Day matinee. And then on Tuesday, just look at the Miami Herald for the 2 for Tuesday coupon, 1-877-MARLINS, or visit marlins.com. So Monday, it's an afternoon game at 1:10. Here's Greg Dobbs. Here's a guy that 2 years ago was a pinch-hitting force. He rolls it towards Uggla. Danny picks it up, gets Glode, throws to first, gets the double play.
Heads-up play by Daniel Uglow. Boy, he got that ground ball and cut off Glode at the pass. And then had to chase him a little bit to put the tag on him. Watch this. It's our Checkers double play of the game. There he is. Cuts him off at the pass, gets the tag, and makes the throw to first to complete the double play. You got to come get that ball. Missed him the first time, and they made sure he got him the second time.
I don't think he tagged him at all, but the umpire said that Glode went out of the baseline.
He finally got him, I think, on the back, but he was called out before then. Yeah, for going out of the base path.
Here's Carlos Ruiz. Bill Volstad, who worked out of big trouble in the first, gives up another base hit into center field. Ruiz, well, he had been struggling before that at bat. Just 2 for 25 before that single. Here comes Kyle Kendrick. And the Phillies were rocking and rolling. They were 11 games over 500 and 26 and 15. And all of a sudden, the scoring stopped. Against the Red Sox in interleague play, and then against the Mets. The Mets of all people. And it wasn't as if Johan Santana was throwing all 3 of those games.
Well, here was the great note I saw on that. The last time the Mets shut out a team 3 consecutive games was in 1969. And it was Seaver, Kuzman, and Ryan that did the pitching.
Two 2-0 to Kendrick. Volstad lays in a fastball, and it's 2-1. The trouble that Chris got in the first inning did push his pitch count up, and right now he's at 31 pitches. Kendrick drives it to left. Coughlin looking up into the rain, makes the catch. Couple hits, but no runs. We're scoreless. The Cardinals, Alfonso Soriano and the Cubs will go at it. National League Central rivals. Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by Budweiser, returns this week at 4 o'clock. All of a sudden, the Cubs showing signs of life.
Well, what everyone was hoping wouldn't happen is starting to happen, and hopefully it's just a passing shower, but the rains are coming down a little bit harder.
Marlins and Braves last night played through some real wet stuff in the third and the fourth inning, and the umpires finally stopped it after 4.
And, of course, the Marlins last night and Braves had an hour and 17-minute delay. The Phillies up in New York had a 2-hour delay at the beginning before the game started.
Which is obviously better because then the starting pitchers don't get heated up and don't get wasted.
It's better until you ask them what time they got into their hotel today.
Here's Cantu. Cantu, Ugla, and Ross. Kendrick, the breaking ball. Last night we had Jorge Cantu all mic'd up, and boy was he entertaining. Fun to hear. Cantu, during the game, kind enough to wear one of our microphones and give us a little insight into what it's like on the field, what players talk about. I thought the best moment of the night had to be when Jorge Cantu came to the mound when Jay Bente made his major league debut. A veteran talking to a kid about to throw his first pitch in the big leagues.
Yeah, that was a great moment. I also talked to Jorge, and he said yes, his parents heard the shout out.
No, they didn't. So they didn't fall asleep.
They didn't fall asleep, so that was good.
He is I think people perceive him as a rather quiet guy. He's not real outspoken in the media. But if you're around him enough, the personality you saw last night, that is Jorge Cantu. And he knocks one into center field for a base hit.
Well, he's now 6 for 10 in his career against Kyle Kendrick.
And we found out last night he can sing as well, Tommy. He was in the pregame warm-ups leading a chorus of Marlins in the outfield. Ugla now. As we pointed out, Ugla continues to lead the National League in home runs. He's tied with Mark Reynolds and Kelly Johnson, a couple of Diamondbacks. The disabled Andre Ethier has 11. Scott Rowland with the Reds is up to 11. Chase Utley, Joey Votto, Adam Dunn, and unbelievably Rod Barajas, all with 10.
By the way, that base hit gives Jorge Cantu a 6-game streak, and it's not a light hitting streak. During that 6 games, 9 for 18 now.
See the conversation going already between Cantu and Howard. And 2-1 to Ugla. Ugla's named not only in the home run category, but also in runs scored. He is 4th in the National League with 34 runs scored. He's tied with Chase Utley and Brandon Phillips, behind Matt Kemp, Troy Tulowitzki, and Ryan Braun. A roller towards short. Valdez out there. Utley's turn is in time. Marlins got a double play in the top of the second. Phillies get one in the bottom half.
Well turned by Valdez and Chase Utley. Utley hangs in there pretty well when he has a runner coming in on him, but it started with Valdez getting kind of a in-between hop. Had a little top spin, but once he got it to Utley, he got it over to first base in a hurry.
And he put something on it, which certainly helps a second baseman who's under pressure. Now Ross. Cody's numbers right now dramatically different than they were when he faced the Phillies. A very cold April, a very warm May for Cody Ross.
We've told you some about Kyle Kendrick, the 25-year-old. Scouting report, fastball has some sink, and he'll use that changeup a lot. And I think there was questions at times with the Phillies, where is he best suited? In the starting rotation, there's that changeup. or out of the bullpen.
Do you think that's because the Phillies coming out of camp had 6 starting candidates?
Yeah, and with Happ on the disabled list. And there was questions about Jamie Moyer.
Joe Blanton's health is at times an issue.
Well, he's back. He's off the disabled list now. So he's one of those versatile guys that could work out of a bullpen and give you some innings.
Rich Doobie. Pete McCannon to his left with the glasses on, the bench coach for the Phillies. With Doobie with pen in hand. Charting Kyle Kendrick. Ross continues. You know what's impressive about Cody Ross? And Tommy, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you go back to when we first saw Cody in 2006. This may be the best month of sustained hitting for Ross that we've seen.
Because he's done a lot of that.
Yes.
Up the middle with base hits. We've seen him drive balls to right field. How about this? And Rich, I would never question you, by the way.
Okay.
How about this? That was the first grounded into a double play that Dan Uggla's had all year.
I remember I showed that to you a couple nights ago, and I agonized on whether to use that on the air because I thought, you know, as soon as I do that,
he's going to hit into a double play. First time all year.
Why is that?
He strikes out a lot, and he hits a lot of fly balls and balls in the air. He's not a guy who's going to hit a lot of ground balls.
It's not the blazing speed.
Yeah, yeah. Cody Ross now a 7-game hitting streak.
Ronnie Paulino. In the absence of John Baker, Paulino, of course, has been the everyday catcher. And his average has climbed up to 313. And he's done okay against righties. He's hit lefties to a 340 tune, 288 against right-handed pitching.
And I think it's just because he's starting to see more right-handed pitching.
By the way, our good buddy Tim Kirkjian had a terrific article on catching today, and it features John Baker in it, with a special guest appearance from Bake's dad in the article. So check it out online. Tim Kirkjian, called As Good As It Gets. And Baker is kind of the narrator as Kirkjian talks about catching in the big leagues.
And, of course, Bake's dad, Dave, a catcher in the minor league system of the Philadelphia Phillies.
Was a catcher at Stanford. Bake ended up at Cal. How'd that happen?
Yeah, how'd that happen?
Here's the 1-1. A strike to Paulino. 1-2. Paulino, of course, was in spring training with the Phillies at the start of last season. Ross is back in. It was a whirlwind of transactions, which I believe sent Paulino from Philadelphia to San Francisco for less than 24 hours. And the Marlins made the trade to get Paulino.
Never had a chance to get himself acquainted to the Bay Area.
I always thought that if you were a player in that situation and you knew what was going on, you report to camp and you walk into the clubhouse, the equipment room, and say, you know, I'd like a Giants bag, some Giants gear.
So you get all the stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Some warm-ups, some hats. Oh, I'm going to the Marlins? Okay, thanks, guys. Toss it in the bag and out the door you go. 2-2. Well, the Marlins, at the very least in this inning, are pushing Kendrick's pitch count closer to Volstad's. Pitch number 30 for Kendrick. Volstad has thrown 32. And that's in on Paulino. 3-2.
I think these are the kind of at-bats we've seen a little bit more from Ronnie against right-handed pitching because he's seen a lot more righties now.
Cody will be on the way at first. There he goes, the 3-2. A roller out to second. Utley waits for it and flips on over to first. 2 uneventful innings for Kyle Kendrick. We are scoreless. Allison Williams.
Well, guys, it is Fiesta Friday here at the ballpark, and you can't have a fiesta without some food. So I'm over here in the all-you-can-eat seats. Not a bad way to go to a ball game. What have we put away so far?
Say again?
What have we put away so far? What have you been munching on?
Well, it's only the third inning. I've only had 3 hot dogs, but it's early yet, so we'll get going later.
You're pacing yourself.
Yeah, you got to.
That's smart. We've got, what do we have up here? Nachos, hot dogs?
Hot dogs, mostly.
Mostly hot dogs, of course. If you come to the ballpark, you got to have a hot dog. But, guys, I'm a little concerned for the fans up here because over here to my right, there's a group of guys, and I'm not so sure that they should be allowed in these seats. The Marlin Manatees, of course, and the all-you-can-eat seats. Guys, this has got to be hog heaven for you, right?
It is heaven. I mean, what more could you want? You got some nachos, hot dogs, great bunch of guys. I mean, what more could you ask for?
Hulk, be honest with me. On a good day, how many hot dogs can you put away?
That's many.
He can barely even hold a hot dog. What are we working on down in front here?
Nachos.
Nachos and popcorn.
More nachos.
All right, the good news is, fans, that you can come out here the final Friday of every month. You can get in on the all-you-can-eat seats, and I promise I'm going to cut these guys off and make sure they leave some for everybody else out here, guys.
You know, the best part about that interview is I think it went right over their heads when she said hog heaven.
Well, you know, I looked at it this way. See, the manatees have to maintain their shape. If they lose weight, they're out of a job. So they're up there just maintaining so they can perform later on tonight. So
exactly. This is really job security for you guys, right?
All day, as long as there's all you can eat and, you know, there's fans coming out to the ballpark, you know, come out here, entertain them. Do a little dance from the 7th inning and just have a great time with them.
Part of the training, right?
Part of the training, all day.
Yep,
you have to have all those calories because you're going to burn them off later when you're out there shaking.
In shape.
Or out of shape in some
in
kind
our
of,
case,
right?
it's in shape.
Finely tuned athletes.
that's right. They're following their training regime.
So they essentially, they can write that off, right? Since that's a little roller that squibs foul off the bat of Wilson Valdez. Scoreless ball game. Chris Volstad and Kyle Kendrick matched up on a rainy Friday night, opening up a Memorial Day weekend. We've got baseball here tomorrow night. Maybe the best matchup you'll see in some time here. We've seen a couple of Josh Johnson, Johan Santana matchups. But tomorrow night, it's Josh Johnson and Roy Halladay. Anibal Sanchez and Jamie Moyer will finish off this series on Sunday at 1 o'clock. And then the Brewers come to town starting a Monday afternoon 4-game series. 0-2.
I think it's interesting when you talked about the Josh Johnson matchup with Roy Halladay. A lot of people early in the year, they don't put a lot of credence into that number one starter. Well, it doesn't matter as the season goes on, but how many times does it seem that the number one starter matches up against that other number one?
Oh, 2 pitch, and Volstad misses outside. Valdez had the bunt single back in the first. That would be strike 3. He was obviously looking for something else. Volstad gets his second strikeout. And out comes Chase Utley.
That would also be a very well-placed two-seamer that looked like it started off the plate and then just had enough movement to bring it back on the outside corner. Look at pitch 5. Yes, in that strike zone. Our Toyota Fox tracks.
Now Utley. Utley was 1 for 13 in the series against the Mets, but he had a lot of company, guys that were 1 for this and 1 for that. Marlins crowd him, and he crowds the plate.
He's as on top of the plate as you're going to see.
And always leads, over the last few years, the National League in being hit by pitch. Pretty fearless up there.
Yeah, 24 times last year.
But that's the secret to his success, and to his credit, he doesn't wear one of those big apparatus on his shoulder or on his elbow or forearm. You talk to his teammates and they'll tell you he's a throwback, blue-collar guy. And a UCLA Bruin. Two. Every time the Phillies and the Marlins play, you always get a chance to see 2 of the premier offensive second basemen in baseball. Here are their ranks. And I want to say this is since what, 2006, guys? All right, it's since 2006. Utley hammers that one to left. Coughlin on the run. He's there, and he makes the catch. 1, 2, 3, go the Phillies. Jerry Rivera following a fireworks spectacular, all presented by Coca-Cola, a Baker Concrete Super Saturday. Marlins Phillies at 7:10. A Marlins tambourine courtesy of Majestic Athletic on 877 Marlins. Tommy very excited about that. Many people don't know that Tommy at home has an entire room simply for percussion instruments, and he does have a tambourine section.
That'll be a nice addition that I can add to that.
The maraca display is breathtaking. Some bongo drums in there. Cameron Maben.
The latest set of Cuban bongos that I just picked up is fabulous.
Maben, Volstagg, Coughlin in the third. Cameron against Kendrick. And the odd thing about facing Kyle Kendrick for the Marlins is that they haven't seen him since September of 2008, which is amazing. He didn't face the Fish in 09. He spent a good part of the year in AAA.
Yeah, so a number of the players haven't seen him at all. And even the ones that have had a little success against him, it's been a while. Didn't affect Jorge Cantu, though.
No, Cantu, they're just like old buddies again. Cantu now 6 for 10 against him.
It's like falling off a bike. Get right back up. Go right after.
I think with Cantu, you should use horse or steer because of the
yeah, that's true.
The ranching
Would have been a better analogy. Now that I think about it.
Drive to center. Torino's there, and he makes the catch. So there's an out. Here comes Volstagg. In a scoreless ball game, Phillies and Fish. Where is everybody else in the National League East tonight, you ask? Well, the Braves are at home, and they are delayed by rain, getting set to take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Derek Lowe, Zach Duke getting ready to duel there. Volstagg, a big chopper. Valdez throws him out. The Mets are in Milwaukee, and that Mets pitching staff keeps the scoreless inning streak alive as they go to the second scoreless. Mets and Brewers.
Well, the Mets have to work on winning on the road. Mets have a 5-game win streak, but they're 19-9 at home, but they're just 6-14 on the road.
Here comes Coughlin. It's really fun to watch this year in the National League because just pick a week and you'll find a team that's on a 5-game winning streak or a 5-game losing streak. And right now, you look in the West, Colorado has won 5 in a row. Remember, the Padres have had some big winning streaks. The Dodgers have had big winning streaks. But Colorado is hot right now. Coughlin takes a strike.
San Diego had a nice little run.
The Mets right now are on the 5-game win streak in the East.
The Rays were on a roll, and they cooled off. Boston has been playing better.
If you want to match divisions, the Central in the National League has 4 teams under 500. Cubs, Pirates, Brewers, and Astros. Coughlin behind in the count 1-2. The National League West has just Arizona under the 500 mark. They're 8 under. The Giants, for all they've done with their rotation, are 3.5 back. They're in 4th place in the West. The Padres still lead that division. Of course, the Padres are coming back here in the end of June for their second tour of duty in South Florida. Phillies, of course, have lost 5 in a row. Their lead in the East down to a 1.5 games.
That's a good safety swing right there on a borderline pitch, just to keep yourself alive at the plate and during the at-bat.
That's a real challenge for Coughlin, is especially in the leadoff spot, trying to fight your way out of a slump. Your instincts are the only way to get out of the slump is to swing the bat. There's a liner, and it's foul.
Yet what made him so successful last year was the ability to draw a walk, to have an on-base percentage of .390. And I think this is a tough situation. You got a guy like Kendrick out there. Left-handers are hitting him about 100 points better than right-handers, but the Marlins have just the one lefty in the lineup.
And the one lefty is not really in a position to do a lot of damage. He's in the leadoff spot. So he doesn't figure, Coughlin doesn't figure to come up with a lot of guys on base. See, that's it. You know, those pitches are borderline, but they're balls.
But they're too close to take the 2 strikes.
I know.
You can take those when you're really locked in.
Yep. And he's not right now.
9th pitch on the way to Chris Coughlin.
Sends a little flare down the line this time, and that's foul again. I think he has seen everything Kendrick has a couple times over.
Well, he's making him work. Kendrick's up to 47 pitches now, and here comes number 10 to Cogs. Kendrick was on his way to Washington State, turned down a football scholarship.
Kendrick thought he had a strikeout, and it missed. It's 2-2.
Well, you saw Ruiz set up inside. He tried to start it in, move it back over the inside corner, and I think he just missed with it.
Pitch
number
10 is where it is on Toyota Fox Track, so it was in. There you go. Now see, Coughlin is laying off those borderline pitches, and he's got himself to 3-2.
3-2, and he's seen 11 pitches.
So pitch number 12 is coming up. A liner into left, great at bat, and Coughlin gets himself a hit. A 2-out single.
That was just a superb at bat. You see all those pitches, and I tell you what, you hope it pays off with a line drive base hit after you've battled and battled, fouled off some borderline pitches. And look at a little lean from Joe Espada. Good play by Ibanez in left field, because that ball shot out there in a hurry. He got down in a slide to keep it from going into the gap. He's got a quick move, though. You have to be careful over it first. One of those areas that the Marlins, we were talking about left-handed bats, just looking at some of the numbers. John Baker, 4 for 5 with a home run against Kendrick.
As we told you last night, Baker has started to swing the bat. He has not been cleared to throw yet. Hopefully that will come in the next few days. And then you would expect some sort of rehab assignment to get his game legs under him. Ruiz certainly moves around a lot. Oh, and 2, there's Baker.
Well, you know he'll work at it, his rehab, getting himself ready. Hopefully that forearm, right forearm and elbow come around.
Counts 0-2. Gabby goes after a high fastball, and he fouls it back.
Carlos Ruiz, one of those unsung heroes in the Philly lineup. He's one of those guys you don't hear a lot about. but does a nice job behind the plate, calling a game, handling a game.
Now, as a hitter, would a catcher who moves around as much as he does before the pitch, would that bother you? Could you hear him?
Sometimes you can. Sometimes you, if he really gives pitches away, you can get some help from somebody on the bench.
Sanchez pokes it into right field, a base hit. Coghlan around second, on his way to third, and he's going to get there.
Might not have done that if Jason Worth is out there, but he knows the arm of Ross Gload is a little below average and not like Jason Worth. So he got a good jump, and what a great piece of hitting by Gabby Sanchez. This pitch is probably away. He's just protecting the plate. Reaches, pokes it, gets it through that hole on the right side. That's great hitting. And you know who your outfielders are. Chris saw and knew that Ross Gload was out there. Plus, he got a good jump.
Marlins give Hanley an at-bat with runners at the corners and 2 outs. Hanley was called out on a strike back in the first. There's an off-speed pitch at his knees. And he got sawed off there. Ruiz is after it. Oh, goodness. Hits the corner of the wall. Did not make the catch.
Boy, he's a tough guy. All catchers are tough guys. It wasn't high in the air to give him much time. Just as he reached out, he got the corner, he got the stool over there. Look at it in Fox Exmo.
Oh. Thank goodness the stool was there because he had something to land on. And he went right back inside, hoping Hanley would go after another one. Counts 1-1. Hanley has 8 home runs this year. 7 of those homers have come against right-handed pitching.
Everybody in the Marlins lineup with a little hit streak has extended it. Hanley trying to do the same. He's had a 5-game hit streak. He'd like to extend it. So far, Gabby Sanchez extended his. Chris Coghlan is at 4 games now. Cantu's at 6. Cody Ross is at 7. But the key is getting that big hit at the right time, and that's what happened a few times with the Marlins in that series against Atlanta.
One-two coming. And it's 2-2. Kendrick's pitch count has rocketed up close to 60 now.
Rich, he's thrown 26 just in this inning. He is really tying up Hanley with pitches tonight.
And you can see it. We talked about how much Ruiz moves pre-pitch. And every time he'll creep in.
But then sometimes he'll decoy. And then he'll creep back out.
Let's see where they go on 2-2. Too much time for Hanley. It's interesting that the Phillies are using a sequence of signs, and there's nobody at second base. Because they certainly must feel that the Marlins, either on the bases at the corners or the base coaches, may be picking up signs. Kendrick. And he throws it away! Down the line it goes! Gabby to third! They're gonna send him! Here's the throw across the diamond. The Marlins get 2 runs, gift wrapped by Kyle Kendrick.
Wow, what a present. A 2-base error. No RBI for Hanley, but the Marlins get 2 runs on Kendrick's poor throw to first. He makes a pitch, he gets the tapper, has loads of time, uncorks a bad throw that's not kept in front of him by Howard. Listen to Joe. Look at how far down. I thought Joe was going to score.
Cantu now fouls it at the plate. For an upcoming Inside the Marlins, we have Joe Espada mic'd tonight, but we can eavesdrop on him throughout the game, and we'll give you anything good that we get tonight.
Yeah, that was good.
It was. I'd like to hear more of that.
Yeah.
Cantu pulls it foul. Cantu singled back in the second. Jorge's hitting streak now at 6 straight.
Phillies have played pretty good defense. They're about 5th or 6th in the league. But a huge error there by Kendrick.
One and two. It's outside. Count evens now. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And remember, it's Jorge Cantu who's had some nice success against Kendrick. 6 of his last 10. He had a base hit back in the second inning.
2 of those 6 hits are home runs. He's going to get a 3-2 now with 2 outs.
Wow, 65 pitches for Kendrick.
Uggla's on deck. Into right. Glow makes the catch. The Marlins get 2 on a big throwing error by Kyle Kendrick. 2-0. Marlins up 2-0 in the top of the fourth. You get your runs any way you can, and a throwing error by Kyle Kendrick has allowed Chris Volstad and the Fish to take a 2-0 lead, and it looked like Volstad was in trouble from the very start of this ball game. Ryan Howard coming up here. It was Howard that came up when the Phillies had runners at the corners and one out back in the first. In fact, the Phillies had first and second and nobody out in the first, with Utley, Howard, and Ibanez all geared up to break this scoring drought, and Volstad got out of trouble. He struck Howard out, and he got Ibanez to bounce out.
When you think about it, this is a team that went to the World Series last year. They were National League champs. They won the World Series in 08.
Outside. Time for What Do You Know, brought to you by Radio Shack. Since he arrived in 2004, his 26 home runs lead all players against the Marlins. We saw that list, that same list, against the Braves. Howard is the leader against the Braves, and Dan Ugla is second on that list against the Braves.
We had a lot of Philly names pop up. Utley's hit 21 against the Marlins.
Two. Broken bat against the shift. Coughlin will pick it up. And Howard, who has dropped some weight from last year, has himself a base hit.
We saw him do that a little bit more, Rich, in Philadelphia. You know, especially when he gets 2 strikes. The shift is on, so there's all kinds of room out there. And that's right where he goes. Got a good pitch. It was a good pitch by Chris Volstad. Phil Howard breaking an 0 for 11 with that.
Here is Ibanez. Raul bounced out back in the first. Ibanez, an all-star for the very first time last year. After a very productive career, finally getting recognition, coming over to Philadelphia and having a great first half. He finished with 34 homers and drove in 93. Had a groin injury in June of last year, and that slowed him down. Because going into that injury, he had 22 homers and 60 RBIs.
He, last year, got off to an unbelievable start. His first 35 games, he was hitting .368 with 13 home runs. Not quite the same start this year.
High fly ball. That's hit deep down the left field line. And it's fouled. Not uncommon, though, for Ibanez in his career. He is a guy that has had streaks like that. Just not a streak to start a season like that. But he's had month, 2 month spans when he was in Seattle or Kansas City where he's lit the world on fire.
Yeah, and we've talked about that. When you have that kind of streak, be it good or bad, it stands out more at the beginning of the year.
Volstad thought he had a strike. Fox Tracks pitch 4 says it was a strike.
Right on that corner.
Do you think someday, with the technology that we have now with Fox Tracks, and it's the same type of video that umpires use to grade themselves, it'll be like a little buzzer in the umpire's pocket when the ball gets into Fox Tracks?
Yeah, 1 buzz a strike, 2 buzz a ball.
That ball's hit well. Maben won't get it. Gets by him. And Howard is going to score. Ibanez is digging for third. And he's in there.
That streak is finally broken for the Phillies. We have a lot of fans here tonight. So that's the first time they've scored in a little over 30 innings now. I thought the route was not a good route by Cameron Maben, and I think he could have kept this ball from going to the gap. And because he took that route, that ball got almost all the way to the wall and allowed Ibanez to get to third base.
So the Marlins are going to bring their infield in with nobody out. Ibanez at third. Here's Glow trying to deliver the run. A strike. Glow pauses. East Hampton, New York, and then to the University of South Florida. He has spent parts of 10 seasons in the big leagues.
Yeah, real nice career. Smart hitter. Good situational hitter.
A very good defensive first baseman. He's capable in the outfield, though first base is by far his best position. That's tough on this team, though, because you're not going to have Ryan Howard out of the lineup at all.
Of course, remember we saw Ross Glow take the mound last year against Tampa Bay.
Both Cody Ross and Ross Glow pitched. Glow's presence in the clubhouse was a big plus last year. There's Ibanez. Two and two. Volstad has a couple of strikeouts. And he gets another big one.
Looked like he got him with that good changeup. That's a good pitch that he needs against all those left-handed bats.
AT&T trivia question. Time to flip the phone. Holds the Marlins' career record for runs against the Phillies. You go to your go-to guy and Jeff Conine, or you go to Louis Castillo.
I like Louis Castillo in this one. No offense to Niner. It's obviously it's either somebody like that or someone who maybe wasn't in that leadoff or number two hitter
that played a ton of games.
Played a ton of games and was a tremendous hitter.
0-1 to Dobbs. Infield's in. 0-2 to Dobbs. Greg Dobbs, 2 years ago, maybe the best pinch hitter in the game. Last year, a nightmare of a season. Hit just 167 as a pinch hitter. And this year, he's just 1 for 19 as a pinch hitter. I know he's not in a pinch hitting role right now. But on the season overall, he is 6 for 42. Got him!
This would be a great boost and a nice momentum swing back to the Marlins. There's a fastball looked like it came back. If Chris Volstad can keep Ibanez at third and get out of this inning, allowing the Phillies just the one run.
The Marlins are going to walk Ruiz and pitch to Kenrick.
Chris Volstad has made pitches when needed tonight. He has 4 strikeouts, but 3 of the 4 strikeouts have come with runners in scoring position.
And that first one was in the first inning, and it was Ryan Howard, and he gets Glowed and Dobbs here. Ruiz will take his base, and Kendrick will come up.
Number 38, Kendrick.
Freddie Gonzalez, Carlos Tosca. Been a tough 2 nights for Freddie. Undermanned in his bullpen. The last 2 nights, the Marlins have made a couple of nights worth of transactions.
Yeah, it's a tough night for the organization to get together after the game in Freddie's office, closed doors, have to make decisions, have to decide who you're going to call up. It's disappointing to Dan Meyer, who was designated, and disappointing to Burke Badenhop. That's tough all around.
But you can see how deflating it is to a team to have a bullpen breakdown in a crucial series like the Marlins had against the Braves. 0-2 now. Let's see if Volstagg can get all the way out of it.
Oh, nice job by Ronnie.
Ronnie knocks it down. It's 1-2. There is Sosa, the Dominican Republic.
We have seen Jorge Sosa over the years with a few teams.
I want to say Rays, Mets. Outside corner at the knees. Chris Volstagg strikes out 3 after the Phillies get a run, but importantly, he leaves Ibanez standing at third. Van, who are you going to call? 1-877-Marooney. By Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. By Tobacco Free Florida. Escape the addiction of tobacco. Be free. Visit FloridaQuitline.com. By AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T. Rethink possible. And by South Florida Ford. Visit SouthFloridaFord.com for great offers. That will test your concentration and your reading abilities. Trying to read over Fox Exmo.
Rich, that was a tremendous job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I think they may use Fox Exmo on us doing our open one night.
Dan Ugla hits a big league pop-up out in the shallow left center. Ibanez makes the catch. We check in with Allison Williams. Allison?
Hey guys, here with someone who certainly knows this stadium very well. Miami Dolphins quarterback Chad Henne and his fiancee Brittany here to take in a little Marlins baseball. Is it kind of odd or is it kind of nice to be able to come out here and actually watch a game instead of be playing one?
It's definitely nice to come out and watch and kind of enjoy, the atmosphere rather than being on the field and, sweating and blood and all that stuff, but it's nice.
Yeah, and it's definitely not fun for you guys when you have to play on the infield.
Yeah, we even though we root for the Marlins or going into the playoffs and everything, but that dirt can get rough sometimes.
Brittany, are you a baseball fan?
I like baseball. I like football too.
Yeah, I would imagine football a little bit more. And Chad, I'm guessing you probably played a little baseball growing up?
Yeah, I played it all the way up until 8th grade, and I was a pitcher and shortstop, so it was a lot of fun for me to play.
Can you compare the two positions, quarterback and pitcher? Is one more difficult, more mentally taxing?
Definitely mentally, I would say. I mean, a pitcher, going ups and downs, you get a home run hit off you, you really got to recoup and get your mindset. So it's a mentally tough game as well as quarterback position.
Are you a little torn here tonight, Chad? You grew up an hour outside of Citizens Bank Park, so how are you feeling rooting-wise right now?
Oh, we're both definitely big Phillies fans, but we root for the home team. We're here in Florida, so we'll root for both of them. Hopefully it's a tie ball game, and it'll go for 17 innings when I'm in sleep.
Perfect. And Brittany, I know you have a wedding to plan coming up here. How's that going?
It's coming along. It's getting close, so it needs to be coming along.
July 3rd, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck, and that'll be back in Philadelphia.
Correct. Yep.
All right. Well, have a wonderful wedding, and it was so nice chatting with you.
Yep. Thank you.
Guys.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, congratulations.
And good luck with training camp. It's got to be tough to schedule a wedding with all the summer training camps. A liner by Ross, and Ibanez runs it down on the track.
Yeah, training camp isn't much of a honeymoon. That's for sure.
Let's flip the phone. I think Louis Castillo is probably the best guess.
Yeah, I'll stay with Louis.
AT&T trivia. Answer? Miggy.
Well, you think about it, Miggy did crush the Phillies and have some big games, and so he was on base scoring a lot of runs.
Who's second on that list? Does the phone have that? Crack staff is on it right now. When did the unbalanced schedule come in, Tommy Hutton? Paulino lining it into left.
Well, interleague play had a lot to do with the unbalancing of the schedule.
So the schedule was essentially the same during Castillo's run in the late 90s into the 2000s as Cabrera's run from 2003 on.
The same, yeah.
All right, so you're playing the Phillies usually 18, 19 times a year.
Even years ago, before they had all that, when it was broken down to just the teams in your division, you played the other teams more times.
Yes.
You would play the teams in the West, the Dodgers, the Giants. You'd play them 12 games, and you'd play the teams in your division 18.
David takes it at the knees. And it's 0-2. Marlins got their 2 runs on a Kyle Kendrick throwing error on a routine play that he threw into right field. David pulls that one to left. Busy night for Ibanez. He makes the catch. 4 innings in the books. Marlins and Phillies 2-1. Marlins on top. We do pick the click every now and then just to amuse ourselves mostly. And you get a point for total bases and a point for runs batted in. And these are the picks to click tonight. And so far, I'm the only guy without a point.
You're getting shut out, Rich.
I am. Just like the Phillies in New York. A strike to Victorino. Top of the order for Volstad. Victorino, Valdez, and Utley. Tapper over the mound. Hanley cuts it off and throws him out. By the way, Luis Castillo was second on the list of runs scored as a Marlin against the Phillies. Number 3 is Mike Lowell on that list. Time for the Keep Your Edge Spotlight, brought to you by Just for Men Mustache and Beard. Chris Volstad has escaped trouble on a couple of occasions.
He's reverted back, Rich, to the way he was a couple of years ago when he was able to pitch out of jams. Remember, he gave himself a little trouble, and then he'd work out of it.
Ross into the corner, and he's there and makes the catch. Cody runs it down. A quick pitch inning would be nice for Volstad at this stage in the game.
You got to keep your concentration when you get over there in foul territory near that wall. Maybe get a little help from the bullpen. Look like a couple of guys up there to help out Cody.
Volstad has thrown 3 pitches and has 2 outs. He's at 76 pitches on the night. Kyle Kendrick is at 79. Utley will take you deep into counts. It's one of the things he does well. His on-base percentage is currently 5th in the National League.
Well, the fact that he hits near 300 every year, the fact that he leads the league in being hit by pitches, the fact that he'll draw the walk, that keeps that on-base percentage up there.
Great trivia question. Who leads the National League in on-base percentage right now?
Casey McGee.
If I had a hammer, Josh Willingham, 435. McGee's a good pick, though. He's having a terrific year.
Casey McGee of the Brewers, who we'll see next week, 41 RBIs leading the league.
Paulino out to talk to Volstad. With the count 2-1 to Utley. Always want to make sure they don't make a mistake here. Utley in the top 10 in slugging percentage. And 5th in on-base percentage. Fouls it off. Not a bad ball strike ratio. 2-2 coming. Howard is on deck.
See that weighted iron bar that Ryan Howard has to help out. I remember years ago, I think the first time I ever saw it, Billy Stargell used to have a big sledgehammer over in the on-deck circle.
I was watching something the other night on the MLB Network, and they were talking about Richie Allen and the weight of the bat that Richie Allen used to use was over 40 ounces.
It was incredible.
It was like a 43-ounce, 44-ounce bat.
We used to love it when he got a new shipment of bats. We'd always check them out. They had unbelievable wood because they were so heavy.
Of course, that's one of the big differences between that era and this era, is even the guys like Ryan Howard are using 33, 34-ounce bats, and some guys are down at 31, 32.
Talked about Dan Ugla the other night using 31.5 ounces. Gabby Sanchez, 32 ounces, 34, 32.
Howard takes a mean rip at a fastball and fouls it back.
Remember, Howard had that base hit to left field last time up. Our crack staff on top of things telling us that 23 of his hits have been up the middle, 19 to right field, but 14 to left field this year.
Well, that left side is wide open because the shift is really swung around. Utley was leaning a bit. You know, remember, it was Howard that dribbled the ground ball down the third baseline for a hit his last time up.
Are you surprised that Utley has just one stolen base this year?
Absolutely. I know with Rollins being out that the stolen base numbers are down. As you pointed out, just 17 this year. And you would expect Utley, Worth, and more from Victorino.
Hey, I had some fun with some numbers yesterday. We were talking with the other night on the air about the two first base coaches, Davey Lopes and Dave Collins. And between Lopes and Collins, 952 stolen bases. So a couple of guys who can teach it well, but also could do it well.
Phillies are one of the teams that has brought stolen bases back into being cool in the big leagues over the last 3-4 years. And Lopes, of course, has been kind of the pioneer of that.
Yeah, Lopes with 557 career steals, and Dave Collins 395.
One and two to Ryan Howard. There he goes, and Paulino from his knees.
And really not much of a chance, and that's why he did try to throw him out from his knees.
And just the second bag for Utley.
Got a big jump. Breaking ball stayed outside. And look at the slide of Utley under the legs of him.
Drives one in the gap, right center, and it falls for a base hit. So the stolen base certainly helps. Utley scores. Howard drives in a run, and the Phillies have tied the game at 2.
Well, a well-timed stolen base put Utley in scoring position. And then Howard, who picks up RBI number 33 on the year, finds the right spot. Cody couldn't quite get to it, and the Phillies have tied it.
Now it is Ibanez. Raul hit a liner to right center that's scooted by Cameron Maben for a triple. It drove in the first run of the night for the Phillies.
Philly fans breathing a sigh of relief, realizing their club can score.
Two 2-0 to Ibanez. Sunset High School and Dade Community College product. Howard is running. Ibanez rolls it out to Ugla. And the inning is over. But the Phillies draw even. A 2-out walk, a stolen base, and a Ryan Howard RBI. Subway fifth inning, home of the $5 foot-long, play hard, eat fresh 2-2. Marlins and Phillies. Chris Volstad takes the strike. John Sulzer is our producer tonight. Jim Holly, our director. Ken Lee, our graphics coordinator. Steve Cardamone in the world's most dangerous tape room, bringing you up to speed with some of the sights and sounds of this matchup. First of a 3-game series. Phillies and Marlins played a 3-game series in Philadelphia. The Marlins took 2 of 3. That was earlier in the year. Since then, the Phillies have been riding high in first place. The Marlins have been right around 500. The Fish Open play 24-24. The Phillies 26-20. Volstad off the end of the bat. Utley going back and is there. And makes the catch.
Always some nice sights and sounds and excitement when the Phillies are in town.
Here comes Chris Coughlin. Coughlin had a very important at-bat back in the 3rd inning. He fell behind the count 0-2. And Kendrick just kept tempting him with balls just outside of the strike zone. Coughlin fought a few of them off. Took a couple. And then kept fouling them off.
Chris Coughlin had a tremendous amount of success against the Phillies last year.
That at-bat ended with a line drive single to left.
In his 17 games against Philadelphia last year, Chris hit .385. Hit 25 base hit. I remember a couple of home runs off Cole Hamels.
Marlins won't see Hamels. They will see Roy Halladay. And they will see Jamie Moyer. One and 2. So we're back to this count again with Kendrick and Coughlin. Ball and 2 strikes.
I don't know if this at bat will go into an 11 pitch at bat, but we'll see.
Off of Kendrick. And this time he finds the mark as he throws it to first.
He didn't have time to think. He had to make a quick play.
Number 14, first baseman.
We'll see Anibal Sanchez and Jamie Moyer on Sunday. It's a family Sunday. 110 Marlins and Phillies. First 5,000 kids. A Dan Uggla poster. All kids can run the bases after the game in the Diamond Dash. 1-877 Marlins, the number to call, or visit marlins.com.
Chris Coughlin tonight has seen 20 of Kendrick's 86 pitches.
Gabby lined a single to right his last time up. They both came around to score when Kendrick threw away Hanley's comebacker. Look out. Ball and a strike. They've started in Atlanta, and the Braves are off to a good start. 4-0. They lead Pittsburgh in the 2nd. Mets and Milwaukee scoreless in the 5th inning. So that Mets pitching staff.
Yeah, it's a Johan Santana start tonight.
Milwaukee is scoreless in 4 innings. So that's at least 31 scoreless innings. And I don't have the Mets box score from the game before they ran into the Phillies, but they may have thrown a few scoreless innings before that as well.
Yeah, it's a good matchup. Santana against Giovanni Gallardo.
Marlins will get Gallardo in the upcoming series to finish this homestand. Breaking ball in the dirt. They're underway in Colorado with the Dodgers and the Rockies. Nationals are out west. They're in San Diego tonight. Gabby drives it to center field. Victorino goes back and at the track makes the catch, bangs into the wall, and the Marlins are down in order. for Saturday? You bet. Roy Halladay, Josh Johnson. The two aces square off tomorrow night. We start our coverage at 6:30 on Fox Sports Florida. JJ and the Fish, Doc and the Phils. We got a good one here. The 2-2 ball game as Ross Globe sends one into the Marlins bullpen. Chris Volstad ventures into the sixth with Globe, Dobbs, and Ruiz on their way up. Globe is 1 for 2 with a single. And it's 1 and 2.
Now, last night, the Mets saw their fill of the Phillies, and the Phillies saw the big right-hander Mike Pelfrey. Tonight they're seeing the big right-hander in Chris Volstad. So a couple of guys, Chris 6'8", Pelfrey's about 6'6", 6'7".
And then they get Josh Johnson tomorrow.
Pelfrey having a really nice year, 7-1 with that win last night against the Phillies. 7-1 and a 2.54 ERA.
Hanley gets over and throws out Globe. And then on Sunday, the clash of the really big starters. You've got Anibal Sanchez, who is listed at 6 feet tall, but might not be 6 feet tall, against Jamie Moyer. So the height really comes down on Sunday. Dobbs.
And in the case of the Phillies, the velocity comes down a little bit Sunday.
Just the mere mention of the word Moyer sends our crack staff into a cold sweat. Jorge Sosa in the bullpen. Starting to dig up all those numbers. Moyer against the Marlins.
A tough one. He's 8-1 against the Marlins here in this ballpark.
Good breaking ball, and Dobbs strikes out for the second time. We check in with Allison Williams.
Guys, Major League Baseball has a great program where they've teamed up with Komen for a Cure for something called Going to Bat Against Breast Cancer. And as part of that, to raise money and awareness for the cause, they have something called Honorary Bat Girl. And basically what it is someone who has battled breast cancer in some way. And what a perfect winner here for the South Florida region. There was thousands of entries, and only one was picked for each Major League Baseball team. Andrea Iano won for the Marlins. I'm with her now. And first of all, congratulations. She's a huge baseball fan, so it was a perfect fit. A little bit about how you came to be the honorary Batgirl.
Thank you so much. It was an online contest sponsored by Major League Baseball and the Susan G. Komen Foundation. And you had to write an essay on how you could go to bat for breast cancer. So I wrote my essay and I submitted it. And here I am.
And you are a breast cancer survivor.
I am. It's been about a year now. And it's been a tough year. It's been a tough 3 years. So I am thrilled to be here.
And what an exciting night for you, because you got to throw out the first pitch, right?
Yes, I did.
What was that like?
That was bucket list thrilling. Absolutely.
Did you get a chance to meet some of the players?
I did. I met some of my favorite players.
Like?
I met Cody Ross and Dan Ugla and Chris Coughlin.
Great.
And John Baker.
Well, I'm so excited you had a good time. She also spoke at Ladies' Night here tonight. Andrea, a great story. We'll get back to the game. Guys.
That is a great story and a nice interview and a nice inning by Chris Volstad in a 2-2 game. easy. Carlos Ruiz looks like a prize fighter there. He's got the stool, the bucket. All he needs is a cut man.
Cut me, Mick. Cut me.
That was the Frostbrewed Coors Light Freeze can. Hello. 2-2 ball game. Kyle Kendrick and Chris Bolstad. Marlins have Hanley Ramirez, Jorge Cantu, and Dan Ugla scheduled here. In the bottom of the 6th, there's Kendrick's line. Not a lot of strikeouts, just the one. He has scattered the hits, which is giving the Marlins just the 2 runs, and both those runs unearned. They came on the throwing error by Kendrick himself.
Pretty amazing that Kendrick, after that 35-pitch 3rd inning, and then making the big error in that inning, is still in this game. He's been a survivor.
Hanley yanks one foul, and it's 0-1. Hanley hit that little tapper back to the mound. He's had a nice homestand. His home run was a laser beam to right against the Braves. What was that, number 4 of his home runs have been to right field this year?
Yeah, and just 1 last year.
David Herndon in the Phillies pen. It's either been really in on Hanley or diving outside on Hanley.
He hasn't had a whole lot of good pitches to hit tonight. There's the breakdown of the direction of Hanley's home runs this year.
Valdez. How do they decide if he hits one to right center or left center? Do they flip a coin?
It's right field. You mean, does it go down as a right?
Yeah, but what if he hits a home run to right center?
It's considered right field.
So center field gets shortchanged in the whole deal.
Yeah, center field's got to be straight away.
Oh, come on. If I'm center field, I'm mad about that. Cantu is 1 for 2. Kendrick drops in a strike. It's 0-1. 6 straight games now for Cantu. As we pointed out, he's had success against Kendrick. 6 for 11 in his career. Volstad and Kendrick matched up here. First time that either team has seen them this year. Kendrick, it's been since 2008. Volstad's last appearance against the Phillies last season.
And you talked earlier about Kendrick back in 2007 leading all National League rookies in wins.
He was 10-4. His ERA was under 4. Hung one to Cantu, and Georgie got it off the end of the bat.
There's been 2 or 3 just misses tonight. Ones that have been good pitches to hit, maybe a little bit off the end of the bat, maybe a little bit underneath.
Ugla now, he is 0 for 2. Our crack staff pointing out, as the Mets and the Brewers now go to the 6th inning, that the Mets did give up some runs in the 9th inning previous to their meeting with the Phillies. And so it was a 27-inning scoreless run by Mets pitchers, which has now gone to 32 consecutive innings.
Gave up some runs to the Yankees.
Well, there you go.
And we have crack staffers all over South Florida.
We do? 2-1. So there's a marketing opportunity there for Crack Staff T-shirts. 2-1 Douglas.
Maybe to be auctioned at the fantasy auction.
It's not a bad idea.
We could wear a T-shirt an inning, and they could be game-used T-shirts.
That's too much like Pete Rose. Here's the 3-1.
He did that.
He did. I think Gaylord Perry did that as well. Like his night of his 300th win, every inning he changed jerseys. In the 7th, and it's Volstad and Kendrick right now, but both managers are thinking about their bullpen and what may be around the bend. Our Toyota trend since 08. Phillies and Marlins. Marlins lead the series 21-18, but are just 7-11 at home. And for the Marlins, in their bullpen, Taylor Tankersley. And obviously he is up with a chance that Utley and Howard may come to the plate. Ben Francisco is going to take the at-bat. And so Kyle Kendrick's night is done after 6 innings. Francisco in the 9 spot.
Yeah, 2 of Charlie Manuel's best pinch hitters from the left side are in the lineup tonight, in Dobbs and Ross Globe. So he goes with Ben Francisco here.
He does have a couple pretty good bats from this side left in Placido Polanco and Jason Worth.
But you know they're not going to pinch hit for Utley and Howard.
There's Jason Worth. He's having an outstanding year. He leads the National League in total bases, extra base hits, second in slugging percentage, leads in doubles. And he's the guy that they don't have locked up to a long-term contract.
Well, and that's what you didn't want to see. Chris Volstad walking Francisco, the pinch hit leadoff guy.
Victorino, and then Valdez is scheduled.
Let's see how Charlie Manuel plays this. He could very well have Victorino bunting, but it's a little different when you have Valdez on deck as opposed to Polanco. Saw Victorino coming from the batting cage earlier today. Said he's been taking a lot more swings from the left side because he's hit better from the right side this year. Came into this game hitting .228 against right-handers and over .340 against lefties.
That's the dilemma for many switch hitters is the fact that, if a hitter's going good, he's feeling good. But some switch hitters, they're going good from one side, but from the other side, it's a real struggle. And so they feel like they're struggling.
And those numbers that you saw, of course, updated with what he's done tonight. 0 for 2.
Hit by a pitch back in the first. Good bunter and great speed. Francisco has good speed at first as well. Popped it up. Cantu over. It's out of play.
And remember, we've seen a couple of runners get pretty good jumps off Chris Volstad, too.
Ground ball. Sanchez got one there. Hanley's relay. Oh, he's safe at first.
Wow. Boy, that's a nice play by Gabby to...
Here comes Freddie.
Get that lead runner. He's a tough guy to double up, and Shane Victorino. I always like to say my naked eye tells me the Marlins got him, but we'll see. Gabby with the pick and a strong throw. Here comes Hanley across the bag.
Tough to tell from that angle.
That's bang, bang. So it's one of those. Could it go either way? Yes, it could. Puts on the bag, arrives at the bag right as the ball arrived to the glove.
Would have been nice, because then much easier to get out of the inning without having to face Utley or Howard.
Victorino, another one of those guys in the top 5, and toughest to double up. Talk about Dan Utley hitting into a double play. And in Victorino's case, it's just because he runs so well.
It's pure speed.
Yeah.
And that pure speed might be on the move here. Tankersley is in the bullpen, and he is ready.
Yeah, I think he's ready for Chase Utley. Well, remember early in the year in that series in Philadelphia, Freddie used Badenhop against Utley and Howard
in a key spot.
Yeah.
And he got him out.
Yeah.
Wilson Valdez has a bunt single, has struck out, flied out. Victorino's leaning but not running. Ground ball into right, and Cody picks it up. And let's see how the Marlins work this now. With one out, Utley and Howard. Here comes Freddie. And Taylor Tankersley is on the spot again. Tank last night came in and got 2 big outs from lefties, striking out Jason Hayward, popping out Eric Hinsky. Hayward and Hinsky last night. Utley and Howard tonight in a 2-2 game. Our Marooney called to the pen. hands now of Taylor Tankersley. This is Tankersley's night last night.
Well, we talked about the importance of Taylor Tankersley, especially in this division, and the matchups that he's going to have. He's able to do the job with Hayward and Hinsky last night. And as you pointed out, Rich, now it gets a little tougher with more veteran guys in Utley, and then he has Howard on deck.
This is his second appearance in the big leagues this year. Remember, he was out all of last year after the elbow surgery. Utley digs in. The problem with Utley is that he hits lefties as well as he hits righties, and that was not always the case. Early in his career, you could get him out if you were left-handed. But that changed around 2007. There are his career numbers against Tankersley. Utley is .340, and 6 of his 10 homers this year have come against lefties.
Well, he crowds that plate. He has such good coverage of the plate. And he doesn't chase too many bad pitches.
Victorino and Valdez. Good speed for the Phillies in a 2-2 game in the 7th. Tankersley catches the corner.
Got to make sure. Good move by Hanley. Victorino started to inch off and looked like he was thinking of running. So Hanley in quickly to say, hey, Tank, just to remind you, come set, make him stop at second base.
Tankersley was one of those many Marlin rookies in 2006 and was outstanding in 2006 and effective again in 07. They're running. Breaking ball. Paulino's throw is to third, and Victorino is safe.
Well, even with that, once Tank started to unwind with his delivery, Victorino got a great jump.
And the Phillies have wiped out the chance at a double play. It was close.
Yeah, Paulino made it close with a strong throw and a very accurate throw, but Fox's Exmo shows you that Victorino's foot got to the bag.
Now it's 2-1 on Utley, and the Marlins have to play the middle infield back. The corners are in. Breaking ball. Utley got his hands through, but yanks it foul. Two and two. This 7th inning has been a difficult inning for the Marlins the last 2 nights. Good fastball. Really tied him up, and it's 2-2. This is the inning, of course, where the Marlins try to bridge from the starter to Clay Hensley. And they've not been able to do it in the last 2 ball games. Nate Robertson went 6 on Wednesday, and of course Nolasco's start was stopped at 4 because of rain last night. Volstad out after 6 1/3. He can only watch as Tankersley battles Utley. Another breaking ball.
And all Freddie can do is try to mix and match as best he can with what he has. And so the mix and match here is the lefty Taylor Tankersley against the left-handed hitters.
There's no question about Tankersley's intestinal fortitude. He's always been known as a guy with a lot of guts. What happened in 2008 was all of a sudden he didn't have any stuff. As it turned out, he had a broken elbow. Two. Liner. Hanley's got it on a couple hops. And he gets it on over to first. The Phillies have their run. Victorino is across. Utley drives in his 24th run of the season.
Well, again, that's why he's so tough. But just 28 strikeouts, so he's a tough guy to strike out. Just out of the reach of Tank. Hanley with the only play to first base.
So twice tonight, the Phillies have a run directly related to a stolen base. It happened in the 5th when Utley stole second and scored on Howard's single. And it happens here with the double steal and Victorino scoring on a ground ball out.
And we talked about that when you've had trouble scoring, as Charlie Manuel has seen his club go through this drought. You do a few things. You get something going. And he has the speed where he can do that. Unfortunately, that run also tagged to Chris Volstad's line.
Valdez at third. Ugla, quick release. That's a heck of a play in shallow right center field. Dan Ugla runs it down, and he gets Howard, who runs much better now than he did last year once he's dropped the weight. Tankersley gets the outs, but the Phillies.
The fighting Phils, they started to come back. Howard, that base hit by Ibanez gave the Phillies their first run in about 30 innings. And then another big base hit by Howard driving in Chase Utley. This one on the ground ball out. Utley to Hanley Ramirez gave the Phillies their third run, and that's the way it stands right now. 3-2 lead. Utley's put him ahead, and now Chad Durbin, the right-hander, comes in.
Both starting pitchers out of the game, Kendrick and Volstad. Durbin in to face Cody Ross.
And you think about it, Rich, the Marlins offensively have not done a whole lot because the 2 runs they've scored were because of that poor throw of Kyle Kendrick. Pretty good numbers for Durbin.
The Phillies bullpen at the very back of it is lacking their closer, Brad Lynch, their setup man, Ryan Madsen. Lidge on the disabled list with elbow inflammation. Madsen is on the 60-day DL. He broke a toe when he kicked a chair after coming out of a game.
Talked to Brad Lidge today. He's going up tomorrow. The Clearwater, their single A affiliate in the Florida State League's playing in Port St. Lucie, and he's going to go up and pitch an inning up there.
Cody Ross hits a high fly ball left field.
Another one of those just misses tonight.
Ibanez has been on that warning track a few times. Doing more on defense, brought to you by the Home Depot. This is a very good play for Ugla.
And good thinking. I think maybe a couple of years ago when Howard's not running as well, you might take your time a little bit more. But Dan Ugla knows that Howard's running better now. That's a real nice play.
Doing more on defense, Home Depot.
So anyway, Lidge hopes to be ready if everything goes well Saturday, tomorrow in his outing. He hopes to be activated on Monday.
Irvin drops that one down low to Paulino. Phillies bullpen has been pretty good. The ERA at 3.54. You see J.C. Romero, one of their more effective relievers.
But because of the injuries, as you were pointing out with Madsen and Lidge, it's been a kind of an unsettled bullpen.
Jose Contreras has been saving some games.
Yeah, the veteran.
The Phillies bullpen is last in the National League in innings pitched, which shows you how the starting staff has done.
Well, a lot of that can be attributed to Roy Halladay. Roy Halladay already has 4 complete games.
Molino just hacking up there right now, and it counts 3-2. Maven on deck. And down goes Ronnie Paulino. So Maven, who is 0 for 2, comes up. Maven takes outside.
As you watch Chad Durbin, he'll use curveball, fastball, changeup. Got all 4 pitches. And as you've seen, pretty good velocity.
Almost looked like a slider there. Ball and a strike. Down that bullpen, they've got Nelson Figueroa, former Met. We saw Herndon up. Contreras has been closing games. Antonio Bastardo, the lefty. Drive to right. Float comes in. And he makes the catch. And the Marlins go 1-2-3 in the 7th.
live arm. And I know in talking to Freddie, he has the opportunity to use Sosa for more than one inning. And it's probably why he makes the double switch here. Sosa bats in the 8th spot. Brett Carroll comes in the game.
First pitch, a fastball for a strike. BC out in right field. Cody Ross shifts to center. Sosa is 32. Uggla's around it. And Ibanez is out. Baker Concrete Super Saturdays, including tomorrow night. You get a post-game concert, fireworks, and more. Luis Enrique and Jerry Rivera are tomorrow night. Sergio Vargas and Billy Quezada on June 19th. Tommy has all of his CDs. 1-877-MARLINS or visit marlins.com. In the percussion room.
The percussion. By the way, a good changeup to get Ibanez.
Ross Glode fouls it back. Sosa started his big league career with the Rays back in 2002. Was in and out of their starting rotation. And then the Marlins saw him in Atlanta in 2005 and 2006. Glode yanks one to right field and hits it pretty well. Carroll makes the catch. Ball's not carrying well tonight. I'm not sure if that's because of the hitters aren't squaring it up or if it just isn't carrying.
I think there's just been some balls missed. Guys have just gotten under.
Sosa was a Cardinal for a part of 2006 and then with the Mets from 2007 through 2009. Some Washington National time last year. Here's Greg Dobbs. But a live arm will keep you around. His ERA in 2008 was 7.06. Last year, 6.45. And he comes in and works.
Another changeup.
A 1-2-3 inning. Marlins need a run. Going to the bottom of the 8th, down. 3-2. And Cody Ross had this to say about his experience.
No, it's a totally different feeling than obviously your eyes can't adjust to what's going on, and it's just it's a bad feeling all around. The goggles that are only just a little bit intoxicated, so I absolutely do not advise anybody even to have one drink and drive. It's a really bad idea.
Words to live by, that's for sure. There's Jason Worth out in right field.
Yeah, a few changes for Charlie Manuel's club. Worth in right, Baez the new pitcher, and Juan Castro's the new third baseman.
Brett Carroll getting his first at bat of the night. He came in a double switch. There is Castro. We've been seeing a lot of him at shortstop.
So Charlie Manuel trying to upgrade his defense on the left side. Dobbs out of the game. Castro's in.
And Carroll behind in the count 0-2.
Well, the Marlins saw Chad Durbin. Now they see Baez. A little more life on his fastball. Curveball and a splitter.
Breaking ball misses outside, and the count 1-2. Kyle Kendrick went the first 6, 2 unearned runs thanks to his throwing error. Chris Volstad went 6 1/3. The Phillies tagged him for 3 runs. BC, Chris Coughlin, and Gabby Sanchez. That's strike 3.
We talked about his 3 pitches. This time BC gets the curveball and kind of freezes on it. Now Baez and Jorge Sosa may have been teammates for a time in Tampa Bay.
Coughlin a hit in 3 trips. He's behind the count 0-2. What a luxury it must be for Charlie Manuel to have the least used bullpen in the National League.
Well, the one thing that tells you is that they're fresh. You know, they're not guys who are getting worn out, sent out there night after night.
Even with the injuries, the loss of Lidge and Madsen. Marlins have not come from behind when trailing after 7. And Coughlin steps out of the box. Two and 2.
Well, he's shown him a couple of fastballs. So he's got a chance, Chris Coughlin does, to see either the curveball or the splitter. Unless Baez stays with the scouting report and tries to go up again with the fastball.
Oh, my goodness. Ruiz reacted, and I think Bill Welke may have missed that. He did. It's pitch 5, and it was right center cut.
That was a pretty good strike.
Don't know that you could throw a better one. Anything close, Coughlin better be swinging.
Yeah,
he fouls it back.
Chases what would have been ball 4.
You have that mindset as a hitter when you get a break like that, you know that anything borderline, you're probably going to get rung up.
Yeah, because you, in your mind, you know that that was probably a strike and you got a break.
Works a walk, and the Marlins have a base runner. Down a run here in the 8th. Coughlin is aboard.
Now, keep in mind, we've seen Chris Coughlin steal some bases this year. Cogs is 5 out of 6.
Gabby Sanchez, 1 for 3. Pulls a ground ball. Castro, Utley's turn is in time, and the Marlins bounce into a double play. The 8th is over. It's still 3-2. His Marlins debut, but his season debut last night, and now Sosa.
Well, Jorge Sosa needed just 7 pitches in that 8th inning to have himself a 1-2-3 inning. Lots of strikes to the lefties. He threw a couple of good changeups. And there's the slider.
0-2. With the Nationals last year, all 18 of his appearances were out of the bullpen. He was 2-1, and the ERA was 6.45.
You know, I think it's interesting. Sometimes a guy who's been around a little bit, he gets back to the minor leagues, but in the case of Sosa this year, he was a starter, so he had to relearn to pitch a little bit.
Hanley on the move.
And he pitched well in AAA, 4-1 with a 3.90 ERA. But the point I'm trying to make is that he was going out there, not just one inning, not going out max effort, just throwing. He was going out there and he had to pitch because he had to go more than one inning.
There's Contreras getting ready. He had not made a start, Sosa, in the big leagues since 2007 with the Mets. Worth, who came in the double switch, now in the pitcher's spot. And he takes outside. Where would the Phillies be without Jason Worth this year?
Wow.
It's been a tough road trip for him as well. He's 1 for 11. Carroll makes the catch. It's going to bring up Shane Victorino as a Sosa. So far, so good. With an inning and 2/3 of scoreless relief. Taylor Tankersley came in and got both Utley and Howard to ground out.
Yeah, the whole key, and you made reference to it, Rich, the whole key in that 7th inning was the double steal. That set that whole inning up and allowed the Phillies to get that one run on the ground ball out.
And it was Victorino who was the lead runner in the double steal. He went from second to third. Valdez was the trail runner. And he scored on the Utley ground ball out. The Flying Hawaiian does not have leadoff type numbers in the leadoff spot. His on-base percentage is just .318. But he's hit 8 homers and has driven in 33 runs from the leadoff spot. Rollins came back, but he hasn't.
He re-aggravated that calf injury.
And he wasn't in the leadoff spot that long. Popped up, Cantu with Hanley right behind him. And it's Cantu who reaches, makes the grab.
Get that belly pin out of the way.
1, 2, 3 in the ninth. Nice play. At first, watch the angle by Cameron Maven. It got by him, and that was costly. The run scored. It was the first run in 30 innings for the Philadelphia Phillies. .38-year-old Jose Contreras out of the Phillies bullpen.
Boy, signed by the Yankees back in '03 out of Cuba. And really has never been in this role coming into this year. Never a save at the major league level. For the most part, a starting pitcher with the Yankees, with the White Sox. But this guy knows how to pitch. Good drop arm slots. Change speeds on his fastball. Good slider. And his out pitch is that forkball.
Hanley, Cantu, Uggla. Marlins have their best coming up in the bottom of the ninth. Rides a fastball at 96. Inside, it's 1-0. Contreras, a member of the rotation for the world champion White Sox in 2005. He was on that White Sox staff through 2008. Strike. Colorado last year. Couple years with the Yankees to open his big league career.
They had shoulder issues early in his career with the Yankees.
1-1 to Hanley.
Shoulder looks pretty good with 95 and 96 mile an hour fastballs.
are his career numbers. 175 starts.
And those 2 saves this year.
Just his 33rd relief appearance in the big leagues. Hanley's seen none but heat.
Wow. See, he's not calling that pitch Bill Welke because that's the same area. And pitch number 5, yeah, it wasn't as much of a strike as the one to Chris Coghlan, but that one was close, and that was the first time he went away from the fastball. That was a slider, it looked like.
Three-two. He struck Hanley out. An 0 for 4 night for Hanley. Here comes Cantu.
Good movement on this fastball. May have dipped out of the strike zone, but Hanley couldn't hold back.
Not a lot of experience against Contreras in the Marlins lineup. Cantu is 2 for 8 with a home run. He's the only Marlin to homer against him. There's that forkball. Quickly, it's 0-2. Sometimes you never know when you've got a guy like Contreras who's been a starter all his life, and all of a sudden he's thrust into the role of being a short guy. Sometimes a guy can surprise you because he goes out there max effort for an inning.
And I think late in a career of a guy who's started for a long time, because he's got the savvy, he knows how to pitch.
Cantu guides it into right field, a base hit. Almost got by Worth. And the Marlins have life here in the 9th.
Well, you talked about it. We showed the graphic of not having a come-from-behind win after the 7th inning. Hey, it's about time, don't you think? Good stroke, good swing by Jorge Cantu. Marlins looking for their first extra base hit tonight.
Ugla has seen Contreras just 3 times. He's 1 for 3 with a double. Dan 0 for 3 tonight. Breaking ball, a strike. Last 8 games in a tailspin is Ugla.
I'll tell you the other thing that Contreras will do, and I think you saw a little bit of it there, he'll drop his arm angle, give you a different look, especially as a right-handed hitter.
Kind of channeling his best Livan Hernandez.
He throws about 15 mile an hour faster than Livan.
Cody's on deck. And Ugla turns on one. 2-2. Phillies outfield very, very deep. They want to get to a ball in the gaps and prevent Cantu from scoring on an extra base hit. 2-2 coming. Right at his noggin. Now it's 3-2. And he missed so badly with the breaking ball, you wonder if he'll come back with it.
Yeah, it was that fork ball. I'd be really surprised if he throws anything other than the fastball. That's what he went with to get Hanley. His fork ball's kind of been all over the place. The only other pitch that he's throwing all right is his slider. But he struck Hanley out with a good moving fastball.
.96, and Ugla just got a piece of it.
Yeah, he went with the heat.
Another 3-2.
Another good battle by Dan Ugla just to foul that off.
Seven pitch at bat. Marlins trying to come back here in the ninth. If he gets another fastball, Ugla calls time. Tough 2 days for the Fish, the last 2 ball games. And as you saw, it's been a tough week for Ugla. Ugla ground ball, base hit right field. Cantu will stop there. If that was Glode out there and right, he may have turned and gone to third, but that's Jason Worth. And so Ugla battles, gets himself a base hit, and up comes Cody Ross.
We've seen 2 terrific at-bats from Jorge Cantu and Dan Ugla against a guy who's got pretty good stuff out there. He stayed with the fastball, he kept it away, and Dan Ugla went right with it.
The Marlins will pinch run now for Cantu with Brian Barton. Charlie Manuel watching. His team has scored runs tonight. And for the Phillies, that has to feel good. They were shut out 3 games in a row in New York coming in here. The Marlins lost their last 2, that against Atlanta. Down a run, down to their last 2 outs here in the ninth. And Ross takes inside from Jose Contreras. Lidge on the disabled list. Ryan Madsen on the disabled list. The Phillies have turned to the aged veteran Jose Contreras to close games. Ugla and Barton. And Ross is sitting on a 1-0 pitch.
Got a 1-0 slider from Contreras.
And obviously not what he was looking for.
He had that fastball swing ready, and that slider darted away just at the last minute.
Cody hit a ball to the warning track his last time up in the 7th. Another slider.
That one a little bit of a hanger, though. That one stayed up in the zone. This is a pretty good pitch to hit. And Contreras may have said to Carlos Ruiz's catcher, I got away with one.
1-2 pitch coming. He struck him out.
That's the best fourth ball he's thrown since he's come in the game. That was just flat out nasty, and he got Cody Ross with it. Look at this ball. Start high and then just dip down. A perfect strike. He's tried the fork ball a few times, but that's the best one he's thrown.
The last one he threw nearly hit Uggla in the head. That one, as you pointed out, was perfect. And here now is Paulino. Down low. Paulino, not a patient hitter at all, but can turn a fastball around, that's for sure. Just 5 walks. There was the fastball. He threw it by him.
You see, the Marlins haven't had a lot of chances tonight. Just 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position.
Without an extra base hit. 7 singles tonight. 1-1. It's gone slider, fastball, slider. And it's 2-1. Wes Helms is on deck. Barden, the tying run at second. Uggla is the winning run at first. But there are 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. Paulino hits it in the air. Shallow center. Victorino is there. And he makes the catch. And the Philadelphia Phillies have defeated the Marlins. Jose Contreras is starting to get the knack for closing games. And he shuts down the Fish in the 9th. Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida, brought to you by Marooney. South Florida, when you need a car, truck, or van, who are you going to call? 877-Marooney. By Corona. Kick back, relax with an ice-cold Corona and lime. Enjoy Corona today. By Dodge Ram Trucks, award-winning Ram trucks. Plus a new heavy duty, making one of the most powerful lineups in Ram history. By South Florida Ford. Visit southfloridaford.com for great offers. And by AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, rethink possible.